Let's talk about France in World War II. It's a sensitive topic, especially if you have any French friends. But let's be real, when people think of France in 1940, they think of white flags and memes about surrendering. But it wasn't just about surrendering. France's performance in World War II is a masterclass in bad planning, outdated strategy, and some of the worst military decision making you'll ever hear about. But let's be fair, France wasn't doomed from the start. In 1939, they actually had the biggest army in Europe. Yeah, bigger than Germany's. The French military had over 5 million troops mobilized and some of the most heavily fortified defenses in the world. But here's the problem. They were still thinking in terms of World War I, and as we all know, war evolves fast. The French had spent billions of francs in a massive defense wall along the German border called the Maginot Line. It was named after André Maginot, the French Minister of War, who, to be fair, had a solid idea. The Maginot Line was a marvel of military engineering. Reinforced bunkers, underground railways, massive artillery stations. It was impenetrable. There was just one small problem. The Germans didn't attack it. See, Hitler's generals weren't idiots. Instead of wasting time smashing through the Maginot Line, they looked at a map and said, hey, what if we just go in through Belgium? You know, like we did in World War I. And that's exactly what they did. On May 10, 1940, Germany launched Case Yellow, their invasion of France. Over 3,500 tanks and 3 million German troops pushed through Belgium and the Ardennes forest, an area that the French thought was too thick for tanks. And spoiler alert, it wasn't. Now, let's talk about General Maurice Gamelin. This was the guy in charge of France's defenses. If military strategy was a video game, Gamelin was playing in easy mode, while Germany was speedrunning the whole thing. He was 68 years old, still stuck in a World War I mindset, and get this, he refused to use radios. Yeah, in 1940, he was still relying on messengers on motorcycles to deliver battle orders, which is like trying to send a text using carrier pigeons while the other guy has Wi-Fi. By the time he realized the Germans had bypassed the Maginot Line, German tanks were already doing laps around Paris. And then, France did something that made history books everywhere shake their heads. France officially surrendered to Germany in just 6 weeks. To put that into perspective, Poland, outgunned, outnumbered, and attacked from both Germany and the Soviet Union, lasted 5 weeks. France, with one of the biggest armies in the world, barely outlasted Poland. Oh, and Hitler, he made sure it was extra humiliating. He forced France to sign the surrender in the exact same railway car that Germany had signed their own surrender in at the end of World War I. Then just to add insult to injury, he had the rail car blown up afterwards so that no one could ever use it again. That's just next level pettiness. After France surrendered, the Germans occupied northern France, but in the south, they allowed a French government to exist, Vichy France, led by Marshal Philippe Pétain. Now you'd think, okay, at least the French still had some control. Nope, Vichy France was basically Nazi Germany's puppet. They actively helped the Germans, rounded up Jews for deportation, and even fought against the Allies in places like North Africa. Yeah, that happened. Now, not all of France just gave up. Enter Charles de Gaulle. This guy refused to accept surrender. He fled to London and started the Free French Forces, basically saying, alright, we're still in this war, with or without the rest of France. The Free French actually played a big role in the war. They fought alongside the British, took part in the D-Day landings, and helped liberate Paris in August 1944. De Gaulle even gave his famous speech, "Paris is free," which is a much better speech than, "Hey, sorry we lost so fast" back in 1940. And let's not forget the French resistance. These guys were badass. They sabotaged German supply lines, blew up bridges, and basically made life hell for the Nazis. One of the most famous members was Lucien Aubrac, who led daring rescue missions to free captured resistance fighters. Another was Jean Moulin, who helped unite the different resistance groups before being captured and tortured to death by the Gestapo. These people weren't professional soldiers, they were regular civilians who refused to accept the Nazi rule. So, was France actually useless? Well, kind of. Their government and military leadership failed spectacularly. They had the numbers, the weapons, and the allies, but they were stuck in the past while Germany was rewriting the rulebook. But to be fair, some French forces did put up a fight. The Free French and the resistance made sure France wasn't completely absent from the war effort. So maybe the real lesson here is that France wasn't entirely useless, just the people in charge were. Still, maybe next time, check all of your borders before the war starts.